Hello, my name is Valentino, and today I'm commentating a Gold Camo Only, no box run for Metal Gear Solid Delta. This run was done on European Extreme Difficulty, playing on Legacy style. The goal of this run, with the restrictions I mentioned earlier, was to complete the game with a Foxhound rank at the end. The rules for this run are pretty simple. To start off, whenever I can have the gold camo, I must equip it at all times possible. There are only two exceptions for this. One is when I need to disguise myself as Rykov to progress in the game, and two is the prison escape, as the game does not allow us to switch our camo at all. Two, I cannot use a cardboard box in any capacity for the entirety of this run. The cardboard box is useful in Delta for the following reasons. You could use the box to sneak around enemies or raise your camo index to bypass a spot you otherwise wouldn't be able to get through with the gold camo only. The box also fools scientists and mechanics, as rather than causing an alert, they will just stare at the box. You also can put on the box to put out fire or avoid flames on the ground, such as when you're fighting the Fury. And you can also use Cardboard Box B to fast travel into the weapons lab. There are other uses, but it does not matter because during this run, I cannot use the box at all. My last rule is that I must get Foxhound rank at the end of the game. You can see the requirements for Foxhound on screen here. They're very similar to the original Metal Gear Solid 3, with one main exception. There is no save limit due to the autosave that is present in Delta. And as an additional note, because this is a New Game Plus run, I am using the Patriot for certain sections, most notably versus the Pain and Vulcan 1. If you don't want to use the Patriot, or you don't have it, etc., you can use the AK-47 or the M37. With all of that out of the way, let's get started. For this run, I'm going to be playing on a New Game Plus save file. We'll be playing on European Extreme Difficulty and Legacy style, as that is my preference. If you would prefer a new style run, I would suggest looking up other content creators who have done so for a Gold Camo Only run. Perfect Stealth is a great example of somebody who has done that.
Jack, I've got...
Once we have control of Snake, what we're going to do is roll underneath this log, then climb up the tree to get control of our backpack. Afterwards, we are going to immediately switch to our gold camo, and we are going to wear it for the rest of the run. The only times we are going to take it off is when the game forces us to. This includes the sequence where we need to steal Rykov's disguise, and the prison escape sequence. If you're not aware of what makes the gold camo so difficult to use, as you can see at the very top right, it will set your camo index to a permanent minus 100%. This means enemies can see you from extremely far away. It doesn't matter what stance Snake is in or what terrain you are up against. It does give you an increase in movement speed for running. I believe it's around 13%, but obviously it's more meant to be used as a challenge item or as a joke item. However, for this run, there are actually some areas where having the extra movement speed really helps to clear some rooms, but regardless, overall, this is a challenge run. Now, for the first real room, we're going to trank the guard that we see in the far distance as soon as he starts moving, and you can see him on the left. On Legacy style, there is no bullet drop-off for when you shoot, so that makes things a fair bit easier to hit from a distance. For this upcoming guard, we can either slam him, trank him, or trank roll him. I opt to do a trank roll, which is when you tranquilize a guard and then roll into him. This is the technique that knocks them out immediately. For that guard, I did a bump roll, and by the time he was able to get up, we've already entered the next room, so there's no caution. Now for this room, I shoot the beehive, and then I immediately get behind the tree, because otherwise, while that guard is flipping out, he can actually see us and then cause an immediate game over. So I wait a couple seconds, because, again, with how bad the gold camo is, the guards across the bridge could actually see me while I'm by the trees. So once it's safe and clear, I proceed into the next room. Throughout this run, you're going to see me rolling a lot, and that is because in Metal Gear Solid Delta, rolling is significantly faster than running, especially when you have free space to clear with no enemies. Some people may find it annoying, however, it is the quickest way to get around. Now, for the start of this room, we're going to aim our gun, go into first-person view, and go on our tiptoes to get a nice immediate headshot on this guard. We'll headshot the guard on the left, and then we'll try to body shot this guard a few times. It'll take about 3 or 4 tranks to knock him out. From there, we're going to proceed to Sokolov's room. The only other guard we have to worry about is a guard that we're going to body slam or roll into. It depends how confident you are on your timing. Here I'm actually a little too early. I'm not that confident in the roll, so I just wait for him to turn around, slam him, and then go into Sokolov's room.
He's a member of the army. Major.
At this point, we're pretty much done the Virtuous mission. The only thing left to do is go to the Cure menu after we fall off the bridge and just heal Snake's wounds. In Metal Gear Solid Delta, there is no save limit for Foxhound rank. You could save in every single room if you want. Throughout this video, I'm going to save in areas that I think are difficult or that I personally struggle with. If you're using this video as a reference for your own potential Gold Camo Only run, you can save wherever you want. This is just my personal preference. For some additional context, the first save that I am typically comfortable going to is at the beginning of the Ocelot unit fight.
So how does it feel? Yesterday,
As soon as we start Operation Snake Eater, we're going to switch to our gold camo. I'm not going to interact with the bag at all up until I get to the Ocelot unit, as you don't really need to. But for now, we're just going to proceed to the areas until the boss ambushes us. Once we get control of Snake, what I do is immediately go south into the next loading zone. This makes it so the guards that are running towards us right now will no longer be there when we come back. There's only one guard we're going to have to worry about, and we're just going to CQC slam him. Once we return, we're just going to go north until we see a guard up ahead. As long as you are decently quick, you shouldn't have to worry about him spotting you. When you get close enough, slam him into the ground and then go into the next area, which will be the bridge. The bridge is not that difficult. I expected it to be significantly harder because it was really hard in the original Metal Gear Solid 3, but you'll see the strategy I'm using right now. Once we get into this room, we're going to roll on the left side of the guard down this hill and then slam him into the ground. Afterwards, we're going to take out the guard just to the right of us. He's not going to hear us slam his body into the ground. Now, don't go across the bridge because, as you can see, a guard has noticed our presence. We need to wait for him to turn around, and then we can book it across the bridge. This is a great example of how terrible the Gold Camo's index is and why we need to approach certain rooms differently compared to a traditional Foxhound run. On a regular run, we wouldn't even consider this guard to be a problem because he just won't really see us as long as we have decent camouflage. Once we have a clear line of sight, we can throw this guard into the ground and then proceed to the next area, Razabit. Now, before Razvit, people would normally pick up the box in a regular run and the thermal goggles. This Gold Camo Only run has an additional challenge where I will not use the box in any capacity. That includes fast traveling, using it to sneak around, using it to put out the Fury's flames, etc. I will still pick up the thermal goggles because they are very useful for the end. After we pick them up, we leave this door, and then a cutscene will begin leading into the Ocelot unit fight. We're not going to save just yet. We're first going to optimize our bag and our loadout before we actually save. Do note that when you start a New Game Plus save file, the Easy Gun is automatically equipped, but it will not invalidate your Foxhound rank so long as you don't actually use it. Anyway, now we'll save. We'll start off the fight by going underneath the floor, and we'll equip our Mark 22 and stun grenades. We're going to shoot the guard on the left, then the guard on the right, and then the gate behind them. It doesn't really matter with what weapon. It doesn't need to be a headshot either, it can be a body shot. When we shoot the gate, the 4 Ocelot members that were going to barge into our room actually go out the side, which you can see over there. When they all get together near that hole in the wall, we can actually throw a stun grenade and knock out all 4 of them. You can see here shortly. It's also around this time that the 2 guards we shot are going to get knocked out. So we're going to sneak out and then peek our head around to shoot the guy on the roof. You can go into first-person view. Now, in both Metal Gear Solid 3 and in Delta, if Snake leans from behind a wall or stands on his tiptoes, his model actually doesn't move from behind the wall, which is very useful to shoot enemies who can otherwise see you if it weren't for the fact that the game doesn't really function like that. So, we're going to headshot this guard on the top, and we're going to make our way down. We have 3 more left. There's one just on the opposite side of us by the stairs. We're going to shoot him. And then there's another guard to our right. We're going to slowly walk so we don't peek around the corner by accident. You can see he's behind the tree. We're going to headshot him. And there's another guard on the opposite side of the map, but we have to be really careful because if we even peek out of the corner accidentally once, he will spot us. Another example of how terrible the gold camo is for hiding. You can see him in between the trees there. He's pretty hard to see. I recommend using sneaking mode to take stutter steps. Anyway, that's the Ocelot unit done in a pretty quick and safe manner. Now, one of the things you should do on a gold-only camo run, the 4 Ocelot unit members here, one of them has a suppressor that I would strongly recommend picking up. It helps manage for later on in the game. In general, it's a really good idea to loot guards if you know what ammo they're going to drop on a gold-only camo run, because you tend to use a lot more trank ammo throughout the game. It's around this time I also equip one of my lethal weapons to shoot the alligator that we see right in front of us. He gives a few pieces of meat that are pretty good to manage stamina later on in the game. And in general, compared to a regular Foxhound run, you're going to be eating a lot more because you can't use the animals camo or other camos to either suppress your hunger or ignore the effects of stamina reduction. It's also around this time I accidentally paused when I was trying to mash through the codec call, so that is my bad, but this is not a cutscene. You'll see me make that mistake, I think 1 or 2 times throughout the run. It is getting used to some of the old button layouts that I had from the original Metal Gear Solid 3. Now, for this part, you're going to roll and crawl underneath the fence, or you can just crawl, whatever's easiest for you. If you want to avoid the claymore mines planted around here, you're going to go all the way around the left, hug the wall, and then roll over the tree after you shoot the dogs. You can shoot the one on the right, the one on the left, whatever's easier for you. A guard will hear the dogs bark, but you'll be way gone before he gets there. Climb up the tree and take 2 steps forward, then hop down. We're going to be shooting quite a few guards that are across the electric fence coming up. Generally, around this spot, you should be safe from being spotted by the guards. I shoot the one on the right, the one on the left, then the dog. Then, depending on where the guard on the far right at the top of the map is, I may shoot him or I may proceed to just book it across anyway. This really depends how quick you beat this room. If you take it a little slower, the guard's probably going to be closer to you, and then you'll have to shoot him. As soon as you start this room, you need to shoot the guard in front of you, otherwise he will spot you almost immediately. From there, book it to the left and go past these 2 trees. When you get up ahead to this tree, you're going to stop, aim, and then shoot the guard ahead of you. Afterwards, move up a bit, switch to your lethal weapon, and then shoot the barrels in front of you, and then at the farther end of the map. When you do this, it will kill the guards, but because it was caused by the barrel and not by your bullets, it actually doesn't count towards your kill count. Anyway, we're going to go fight Ocelot, so switch to your lethal weapon and your pistol, both with no suppressors equipped. And then we're going to save. At the start of the fight, take aim where Ocelot's going to peep out from the corner, and then shoot him. When you do this, his guards will try to shoot you from behind, but they won't hit you so long as you don't move, giving you time for a free headshot. Take cover behind this rock. In general, you're going to use it to bob and weave from Ocelot's shots. He's not that quick, but you need to be decently fast and keep track of him. He also does a fair bit of damage, so try to take as few bullets as you can to save additional health for the pain. After Ocelot fires 6 bullets, he'll do this reload animation where you can skip the cutscene and then get a free headshot again. But be sure to take cover right after, otherwise he will shoot you. It's good to bob and weave back and forth between this tree, the rock, etc. Just make sure you don't stand still for too long, otherwise you'll get a free shot like that. Once Ocelot has fired 12 bullets, you can get another free headshot, and you might actually notice the troops are firing behind me again, leaving him open for another free headshot. If this doesn't happen for you, just wait for him to come outside from the tree, and then shoot him. Now that we're in the cave, you may have noticed I've made it on my screen a lot brighter, thanks to the power of editing. Normally, it is extremely dark and hard to see, and to be quite frank, I do this off memory because I can't actually see where I'm going a lot of the times. Coming up, we're going to fight the pain. Before we do this, we're going to pick up the shotgun in the side cave before we fight him. The pain is way more difficult in Delta compared to the original release. The main reasons for this are that you cannot dodge his bullet bees by going into first-person view. His armor got buffed, so it takes 2 regular grenades to destroy it, or a single smoke grenade, which you only have 3 of in a gold camo run. And Snake is way slower to dodge due to the animations that he does in this game, in general being a bit more slow. So, before we fight the pain, we're going to have our Mark 22 equipped, and we're also going to have the Patriot to stop his initial onslaught. This fight is really hard and takes a lot of practice, so don't feel too bad. If you don't have the Patriot, you can also grab the AK-47 instead. Otherwise, at this point, once you're all set and maybe have a quick bite to eat before you fight the pain, we're going to start the fight and then go save. As soon as the fight starts, use the Patriot to unload on the pain and stop him from using his pheromone attack. Then switch to your Mark 22 and use tactical reloads to get quick headshots on him. When he gets the B armor, throw a smoke grenade, then do the same thing with the tactical reload to get headshots and end phase 1. This takes a lot of practice, so don't feel bad if you can't get this. When phase 2 is about to start, immediately hold your gun, and this will cause the pain to cartwheel the other way, then go dive in the water as soon as possible to avoid the bullet bees. When you do a get up animation, you also do have iframes, so keep this in mind so you have a consistent and easier way to avoid the pain's Tommy gun and grenades. An opening can be really hard to find in this fight, but when you do, throw a smoke grenade, then you gotta rip on him with the tactical reloads again. As you can see here, I got a pretty good amount of shots in. Unfortunately, he does end up dodging the second smoke grenade, and this happened because I aimed the gun a bit too early. I have to use the shotgun as insurance. And this is why it's really critical to pick it up, because otherwise this fight would take forever. Now it's at this point I want to wrap the fight up, and luckily I was quick enough with tactical reloads to get some shots in before he destroyed me with his Tommy gun, and then we're finally able to move on from the pain. After the cutscene is skipped, you should pick up these mangoes because they do replenish quite a bit of stamina, which can be useful. And you can also shoot these poison dart frogs, which can be very useful if you're playing on new style for the Fear boss fight. We're actually going to save as soon as we enter the river. So before we do that, we're just going to prep our menus with a Mark 22 and our lethal pistol, both equipped with a suppressor. Now, in a normal Foxhound run, you would just dive underneath the river with a good enough camo and bypass all these guards. That's not an option here. So we're just going to shoot them with the tranquilizer instead. There are 3 guards we need to shoot, and when we shoot the first or the second one, we're going to get a caution. However, they don't call for backup here. They just acknowledge the threat. So once you take out the 3 guards that are flying around, you don't have any other threats to worry about. The 3rd guard towards the middle end of the river is hidden behind a tree for a while, so you may need to use your thermal vision goggles to get a good shot on him. It's also important to note that swimming is way faster than Snake trudging through this waist-high water, so just come up for air when you need it, dive back down, and swim to the end, right in front of Warehouse 1. Now, just a fair warning, when you enter the next area, you need to shoot that guard ASAP that's in front of you because you have about 2 seconds before he spots you. If you manage to get the headshot, you're all good. If you don't, it's a reset. And I was very lucky. I actually shot the exclamation mark in front of him, causing him to get stunned. During that time, I shot the barrels, then headshot him to knock him out. This killed all the other guards, although not by my hand. And then, the other guard is now asleep. This also has the additional benefit of doing some extra stamina damage to the end when we fight him eventually. Otherwise, we're going to pick up some ammo, some stun grenades, and some smoke grenades, and start Warehouse 1, which is going to be our next save. For Warehouse 1, we're going to make heavy use of the leaning techniques I talked about earlier in the video. Go to the corner right in between the wall and the bar, and then shoot this guard with your trank. When you aim underneath this metal bar, another guard is going to bob and weave. You're going to see his head, and you'll take the headshot. Afterwards, you're going to dive down the stairs and then shoot the other 2 guards on the upper floors. It's really important to note that you need to stand on your tiptoes for all these headshots. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get the proper angle, or you'll get spotted from trying to shoot at a different angle. Once you take out all 4 of these guards, you can go to the second set of stairs, get into the supply cabinet, and pick up some extra food. Then, if you really want an extra suppressor, there is one in the middle of the room. You can either roll or hang off the ledge to get it. Now for this area, all you need to do is just hang right, and you'll be able to avoid all the traps hidden throughout the map. If you're on new style, you can also get some additional poison dart frogs here for the fear fight. You can use your thermal goggles to find them a bit easier. I found this upcoming room really tricky, but then I thought of a really good strategy that's pretty consistent. Go up to this white stone by the corner, and then you can see, if you lean left and right, you can see 2 guards. Aim for the guard on the right once he takes a few steps, then shoot the guard on the left, because he'll be turned around and he won't notice his buddy getting knocked down. From there, you can turn all the way to the left to shoot the guard, and then finally shoot the dog when you have an opening. Once you get inside the walls, you need to shoot the guard to your immediate left and then the guard diagonal from you. If you don't do this in this order, the first guard will spot you, or the second one will cause a caution and then probably an alert. There's a guard across the map from you. He can notice your presence and is probably walking towards you, but you have a bit of time before he causes an alert. So you can shoot him and then book it across. You can take a quick peek from behind this truck to see where that guard is, and you can shoot him, or if you're quick enough, you could knock him out with CQC. That guard we just shot also has a lot of Mark 22 ammo, so we're going to loot him quickly. After we pick up this ammo, we're going inside the lab, which will be our next save. This, in my opinion, is going to be the most difficult part of the game. When you start off in the lab, what you're going to want to do is either shoot this guard, or when he turns around, you can just run and CQC him, whatever your preference is, most likely depending on your ammo. There is another guard around the corner. You can do the same thing to him. Just be sure to move carefully, otherwise you will get spotted by him. I actually do opt to slam him when he turns around. And it's around this time, and you probably may want to do this a little bit quicker. You can book it to the side and go down the stairs to avoid that guard spotting you. For this upcoming area, you're going to want to wait until the guard turns, and then you can just slam him. Be careful not to make too much noise, otherwise he'll turn around and spot you, and it can be hard to turn the corner in time. Once he's slammed, we're going to make a very quick detour to go get the SIG gas spray, which is super useful against the end. After we get that, do 3 punch-punch-kick buffers. If we do this correctly, the guard and the scientist will not be in our view. We can shoot the guard. This will cause a caution. The scientist is going to flip out a bit, but he's not actually going to cause backup to come in. In a few seconds, the scientist will be in front of the TV, and you can get a free headshot on him. Sometimes the guard in the other room will hear the noise and come through the door. If you see this door open, hide up against the couch and then wait to slam the guard as he comes around the corner. It's very intimidating at times, but you have to be confident and be aware of the situation. Afterwards, there are only 2 scientists, so you can just stand on your tiptoes behind this wall. They will not spot you, headshot them both, and then go see Grandin. As an additional note, if the guard does not come into the room, he's going to be at the end of the hall. You can just shoot him on your tiptoes after you shoot the 2 scientists. Now, getting into the lab is not that difficult. Getting out is, in my opinion, the hardest part of the game, which is why this will be our next save. So, after you get control of Snake, what you want to do is run to the door and do 2 punch-punch-kick buffers, then open the door with the action button. If you do this correctly, both the scientist and the guard will face away. Shoot the guard, then take out the scientist in whatever way you see possible. Go down 2 desks until you get to this red chair. Lean and then shoot the scientist. Afterwards, you're going to go near the door and do 3 punch-punch-kick buffers. After the third one, open the door with the action button and then headshot the scientist. The guard will go on caution, but you can take 1 small step forward, lean, and then shoot him to end the caution. For this gold only camo run, that room took me about a couple dozen tries. Anyway, once you're done this room, just do 1 small step to see that the guard is around the corner, take him out, and then go up to the next set of stairs, which in my opinion is extremely difficult and tight on timing. As soon as you go up the stairs and get control of Snake, you want to run to the guard closest to you and slam him to the ground, then run to the door and open it with the action button. You need to be very quick and confident on this timing, otherwise the guard will spot you. You also need to be careful not to barge through this door, otherwise that guard will spot you. Do a lean technique and then shoot the guard when his head is underneath the light. His buddy is going to see that he got knocked out. Just wait for him to come by and then slam him. As long as you're by this corner and not making any noise, he will not see you. At this point, there are no more guards for us to worry about inside the lab. We're just going to quickly loot this guard to get some Mark 22 ammo. When we get out, we need to be ready to shoot 2 guards that are very close by us. Once you leave the lab, aim to the right and shoot the guard by the wall, then shoot the guard that's directly in front of us. This guard also has Mark 22 ammo, so be sure to loot him if you're running low, or you just need to top off your clip. After looting this guard, another one will be walking towards us from the other side of the room, but if we go down south and take the long way around from the trucks, he won't be able to see us. He will also get distracted by the guard's knocked out body. If you want to be sure, you can lean from behind this truck and adjust the camera as you see fit. As you can see, there is no guard nearby and the other one is looking away, so we can just book it and get out of here. It's going to be around this point that Snake's stamina will be around or below half, so I'd recommend eating a mango or some other type of food that will fill up your belly. After you do that, we need to take out 3 guards and a dog. The best way to do this, stand behind this pillar, do the lean technique to headshot the dog and the guard. Then, when you have a better line of sight, you can shoot the other 2 guards. It can be really difficult to headshot them because of how far they are, so doing a couple body shots with a tactical reload will knock them out quicker and avoid reinforcement from a caution. If you're really having trouble from that far away, you can move up a bit. Obviously, just be careful because you are at minus 100 camo. Luckily, the body shots did kick in, the guards are knocked out, and the caution is done. So now we can move on to the next boss, which is the Fear. Coming up, we have the Fear boss fight. This trick I'm about to show you is exclusive to Legacy style. You cannot use it in New style. When the Fear is stunned by a stun grenade, he will take stamina damage from the traps instead of lethal damage. This means we can defeat him extremely quickly without wasting a lot of ammo. I'm going to demonstrate it after I save coming up. For a quick note, do not cure the poison before you save, otherwise when you use the fake death pill, the Fear will trigger the trap and ruin the setup. When the fight starts, go to the top right of the map and stand at the top in between these two trees, have your stun grenade ready, and use your fake death pill. Wait for the Fear to come to you, and then turn around. When the Fear turns around, use your revival pill, and then throw a stun grenade such that it will be in front of his face. When he is stunned, go walk by that tightrope. It will trigger the trap and then cause non-lethal damage and take him out instantly. And there you go. That's the Fear. Again, do note this will not work on New style, only Legacy style. And funny enough, it also worked in the original Metal Gear Solid 3. Now, coming up, we have a room known as Warehouse 2, which is pretty difficult, doubly so on a gold camo route. However, the strategy I'm about to show you is fairly consistent and pretty easy to do. Regardless, this is a tough room, so I'm going to save here. Start off with your Mark 22 by going left parallel of these barrels and then shooting the guard at the end of the room. Afterwards, do a quick punch-punch-kick buffer. Go to the side by the ledge and then look down in first-person view. You're going to see a guard. You may need to be a little closer to the fence, but when you see that guard start to turn, you're going to drop down, catch yourself, and then drop down again. If you do this correctly, nobody will have spotted you. Do the lean technique to shoot this guard. Then go around the boxes to slam or knock out the other guard any way that you see fit. Once you take out the third guard, throw a smoke grenade at the guard upstairs, then use the distraction to exit the room. When starting out, this room can seem super intimidating, like it's on lockdown, but there are some pretty cool strategies that you can use to counter it. This is one that I found that wasn't resource heavy and not that difficult nor time consuming. You can go around this tree trunk and then keep rolling until you get past these trees. Eventually you'll see this stump-looking object that you can hide behind. You can either use it as a distraction to slam the guard or lean and just take him out with a bullet. After you do that, there's another guard up ahead. Just make sure he can't see you. Don't go too far ahead. Take him out. That terrain also makes a lot of noise, so just be wary of that. You can't run up and seek him very easily. There is another guard in the middle patch of the trees here. You can just shoot him, and then there's another guard at the other end. You can also loot that guard. Just be careful, use the trees as cover, and then bob and weave. He'll be diagonal to your left. He can be a little hard to see. Now, we're coming up to fight the end. And to be frank with you guys, I did not learn any speedrun strategies in Delta for the end because the original ones don't work exactly how I would like them to compared to Metal Gear Solid 3. So I just did an old-fashioned chase him down, use the SIG gas spray, sneak up on him, etc. If you want a much better demonstration of how to do the fight quickly, I would recommend checking out this video in the description by Big Boss. He demonstrated excellent methods to take out the end in a quick and efficient manner with great explanations. Please give him a watch. Once we start the fight, I realized the end spawned at the right, and when you save, he'll always be in the same spawn point unless you get captured from waiting too long or you wait even longer and then he dies of old age. One of the additional difficulties of a gold camo run is Obviously, we stuck out like a sore thumb, and this is really exacerbated by the end, who can basically see you anywhere to begin with when you already had good to decent camo, but now you're a shining gold brick. Now, what you're going to see throughout the fight is, again, because my camo is so bad, rather than follow some of the paths that the end will be in, if he's across the map, I actually just go around the loading zones and try to flank him rather than get a direct shot where I might be able to avoid getting spotted, because that's just not realistic with a minus 100 camo index. Otherwise, what you'll see here is me tend to sneak up slowly on the end using the stalking mode, and then getting behind him, crouching, and using the SIG gas spray. The SIG gas spray does a ton of damage to the end, and it's pretty much the only real time I use it because the gold camo can still CQC opponents. Once you've damaged the end and he becomes invulnerable for a short period of time, you want to try to cover his exit to see if you can roll, punch, or shoot him to get some additional damage in. This is especially useful at the start where he only really has one road of escape. Otherwise, you can use this to manipulate his position in some areas, but it's not 100% consistent, and sometimes he'll actually just run past Snake entirely. You can see here as an example, the end is not close by to us, nor is he in a spot that we can reasonably shoot him from without getting spotted. So rather than going across the map to meet the end where he is, I actually opt to go down the south loading zone, go all the way around, and try to flank him from the side.
Try this on in size.
Unfortunately, while we were too late to catch the end here, he did give us a path to his footsteps, and this is where audio becomes really important, because you actually might be able to hear the end put his gun down if he decides to find another sniping point within the same loading zone. This allows you to figure out where he is, sneak up on him, and then do more damage. Here, the thermal goggles are fantastic as always, allow us to follow his footsteps and eventually get the shot on him, or the sneak up with the SIG gas spray. just as a note for this part, I thought the end was behind that tree. He was not. When you fire an unsuppressed weapon, this will notify the end of your location. I would not recommend doing this unless you are doing specific speedrun strats.
Fight like a man. This.
Just one last thing as we're coming up to finish the end fight. When your stamina is below half, Snake's stomach will start to growl, and this actually can alert enemies to your presence, causing them to turn around. It also causes your aim to shake if you're not wearing the animal's camo. Now, the end was so low, I only needed to go for a body shot anyway, which is why I used a Mark 22 pistol, because otherwise I was afraid of my stomach growling and him running away. Once we finish the end fight, we're going to pick up his gun, known as the Mosin. This is a great weapon that does a lot of non-lethal damage. It's very good for the Fury, Volgan 2, and the boss. Next up, we're going to climb up the very long ladder. Rather than eat before the ladder, we're going to eat after, as climbing up drains a ton of stamina.
Silence through the night. What a thrill. I'm searching and I'll melt into you. What a fear in my heart. But you're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Crime, it's the way
want some more.
After we get to the top of the ladder and eat some noodles, we get into our next save, which is often referred to as Mountains 1. The mountains in general are a big gun fest, so it's a good thing to have a lot of ammo. After you roll down this cliff, run up to the little hill where you see the snake, and then shoot the guard on the top with the rocket launcher. He will notice your presence, and he will bob and weave his head a bit, so just take the time to line up your shot, make sure you don't miss, otherwise you'll start a caution and probably get spotted. Then shoot the guard in front of you. You can shoot the guard to the left if you have a clear shot, but if not, you can move up a bit and then shoot the guard that's directly north of you. Then shoot the guard on the left by standing on your tiptoes. It can be a little hard to line up the shot from the distance, so just take your time. There are 2 more guards you have to worry about, one of which is directly north. You might be able to CQC him, but it's probably way better just to line up an easy shot and shoot him. Make sure you can use the lean technique and stay on your tiptoes to avoid having Snake's model be exposed and causing an alert. Once you've taken out that guard, I like to go around the rock on the left and just do a quick little lean to make sure that guard isn't seeing us. Just be very careful. There's no reason to rush. You can see he's facing right, and he's probably going to spot his buddy who got knocked out, so you don't really have to interact with him at all. You can just go into the next room, Mountains 2. When you get into this room, aim your gun and immediately aim for the guy that's ahead of you, otherwise he's going to cause an alert. Then shoot the guy that's farther ahead. Wait for him to stabilize his head so you can line up your shot. Afterwards, there's quite a bit of Mark 22 ammo for you to pick up here if you're running low, and at this point in the game you probably are, so I'd recommend taking the time to go around that little circle and pick all of them up. Run up this hill and stand just underneath the ledge. Aim your gun and stand on your tiptoes to get a clear headshot on this guard. He won't be able to see you for the reasons I've mentioned before. For an additional note, you may see the vulture is eating this now dead soldier. In Delta, they actually changed it from the original game. If you knock out a soldier and a vulture finds them, it'll actually kill them and then start to eat them. Doesn't count as a kill for you, though. Now, there is a soldier just around this corner. What you want to do is just CQC slam him. If you're too late, you're going to have to wait around the bend and then shoot him when the time is right. I like to take the lower path for these upcoming guards and just get below this little rock here. That gives me a clear line of sight to shoot them on my tiptoes, but they can't see me. So I'd recommend shooting the guard on the right and then the guard on the left when you have a clear shot. He can be a little tricky to headshot, but he generally will not cause a problem so long as the other guard is knocked out. There is a third guard to the left of the shack. You can trank him by leaning, you can CQC him, etc. Whatever's easiest for you. Then you can move on to Mountains 3. This room is an absolute gunfest, and you're going to see how. Go behind these boxes and aim for the guard on the top right near the machine gun turret. You need to get a headshot or at least 2 body shots. Then aim for the guard that's close to you. Stand on your tiptoes and then aim for the guard on the top left. This will cause a caution, but don't worry because it's by a guard that will get distracted by his buddy getting knocked out. In the meantime, go in the crevice and then slam this guard that's right here. Go around the corner and then you should be able to lean to see a guard going to check on the buddy we just knocked out. What I'd recommend doing is either shooting him from a safe distance while you're leaning behind a wall. If you're really, really brave, you could go CQC him, but I would not recommend doing it. Once you take out this guard, this will clear the caution, though. Before we continue with the rest of the room, go into this little shack and pick up some TNT and claymores. These are going to be very useful for the first Vulcan fight. Afterwards, just follow the path, and before you get around the corner, you should be able to lean and then take out the last guard in this room before you can proceed into the mountain shack up ahead. After we get into the shack, go through the cutscenes, etc., we're going to start our next save, and then we're going to start the Fury. The next area on our way down to the Fury can be pretty tricky, which is why I recommend using a save. Again, unlike in the original Metal Gear Solid 3, Delta does not have a save limit for Foxhound, so you can save as little or as often as you'd like. This is where I prefer to save, as I usually have trouble with this part. Snake had a lot of trouble crawling underneath the bed. I don't know if I did anything odd, but that angle has usually worked for me, but I just thought it was a bit interesting. Usually for this part, we would just roll down the hill on the side and then go to the Fury's door. Can't do that with the gold camo. So, lean up against this wall here and then take out the guard. Afterwards, you can see the pyro guy just around the corner. Take him out in whatever way is easiest for you. Probably a lean with the trank. Afterwards, take one step up with the action button, and then you're going to shoot the remaining guards here. There's one to your right, one to your left, and then another one that you're going to have to change your vantage point to shoot. After you shoot the guard on the left, go up this step and then go behind the barrel. You can crouch behind it to obstruct the guard's view while you adjust your camera to get a better shot. You can see him at the bottom left. If you're a little crazy, you can actually roll down and then slam him into the ground. I actually just made the grace period before he caused an alert. But part of a gold run is being confident that you can make those short periods before you get spotted. And some strategies do really rely on that, such as in the lab. Anyway, we're going to save again pretty shortly once I roll my way down to start the fight with the Fury. The Fury's a bit different because for this particular gold run, I'm not using the box at all, which means I can't use the box to protect myself from the flames or put the flames out. Regardless, he's a fairly easier fight in Delta, so before we start the fight, we'll just equip our Mosin and get ready to save.
What can I say?
As soon as the fight starts, the Fury will either go to the right or the left. You can use your audio in your headphones if you have really high quality speakers to see which side he lands on, but it is RNG. So, in general, the Fury is a big RNG fight. Where he decides to land, where he will choose to charge, where he chooses to fire, etc. is all random. That means you need to be careful on where you sneak up on him and try to get tactical reloads on his body, because in Delta, you cannot shoot his head. The helmet will block the shots, and the back and side of his suit, until it gets ripped, has a lot of armor, making it minimal damage. So you need to aim for his chest area. I'd recommend, if he's facing behind you, shoot his back, wait for him to turn around, then shoot his chest twice quickly if you can. It takes practice. The Fury, while being a bit more easy, is still not an easy fight in Delta, so you still need to be careful because he can shred you in seconds. As an anecdote for why I think this fight is a bit easier in Delta, one of the things I've noticed is that the Fury's hit detection on his fire from this flamethrower is a little bit wonky. If the Fury, for example, is on a lower level than you are, like the middle of the stage, and you're at the top, a lot of times the fire won't actually hit you in my experience, even when you're basically point blank with him. So this means you might be able to get away with some free shots that you otherwise couldn't get away with. But it's generally still best practice to stay away from the Fury because his fire will otherwise decimate your health in seconds. As you saw earlier, tactical reloads are key for getting a ton of damage. You can't hesitate with them, and you can't really hip fire with the Mosin in this game, so it is something you need to get used to if you're used to doing tactical reloads in the original Metal Gear Solid 3. After we defeat the Fury, we can pick up a few items here, most notably a suppressor for our Mark 22, which is going to be really useful for Groznygrad, as we're going to be shooting a lot of guards to bypass some of the sections. We're also going to have smoke grenades equipped, as they can be very useful for infiltrating the lab to steal Rykov's uniform. Otherwise, this is where we will save again. As soon as you load in, go up the stairs and then go behind this box to headshot the guard facing the wall. From there, go left in between the boxes. You're going to see this guard is distracted, so wait for him to turn around. Then go by the corner, lean, and then headshot the guard. If you do this quick enough, you can make it to the next area without much of a problem. Once you enter this room, go straight and go behind the barrels to headshot these two guards. Go for the guard on the right first, then the left. Afterwards, follow this light, go past the barrels and then behind this box. This will allow you to stand on your tiptoes and get 2 headshots on the guards close by. Now it's around this time, a guard on the right will start walking towards the guard you just shot. You can wait for him to pop up, then headshot him. You could also go around the truck and then CQC him. Do whatever you find is easiest for you. After we take out this guard, we're going to go inside the building and then steal Rykov's uniform. This next strategy is an old Metal Gear Solid 3 speedrun strategy. You're going to have your M19 and your smoke grenades equipped. It's not too difficult, but I do like to save here as it can be a little tricky if you're not used to it. As soon as you get inside, run in between the second and third pillar and wait for Rykov, who you can see at the top right, to go inside the door. Then throw a smoke grenade at the stairs. Get where the smoke is and then shoot the guard, who is now confused, in the leg. When you shoot this guard, it will cause Rykov to run back across the hall where you're already inside the room. Wait for him to come through the door, then you can knock him out or CQC hold him and drag him to the lockers. It's actually kind of funny how you're a shining brick of gold and none of the guards saw you during that sequence. But once you get this sequence down, it's not too difficult. It just takes a bit of practice and confidence. At this point, this is the part of the game where we have to switch off the gold camo and switch into Rykov's disguise. There is currently, at least at the time when I recorded this, no known way by the community for us to bypass this sequence without Rykov's uniform. This will also apply for the prison escape sequence, as we do not have access to our backpack or any of our camos as well.
All I want. Tell me,
Stop it!
who have you been talking to?
He doesn't know what you're talking about.
You'd better start talking.
Please, stop this!
Who is Khrushchev's lapdog?
How can you do this to him?
I know you gave the data to someone.
Never do it
You!
like that. You monster.
I guess he's dead. Now then, I hope you'll prove more entertaining than he was.
In the original game, you could bypass the torture damage by holding down the item or menu weapon button during the sequence. However, that doesn't work in Delta but you get fully healed when you're in the prison cell, so it doesn't really matter.
But not for long. Well then, let's get started. What is your target? Is it the Shagohod? Or Sokolov? Or maybe it's the Legacy? Answer me! Who is helping you? Who let you in here? You're a tough one, but even you must have your limits. And I am a patient man.
Once you have control of Snake, grab the fork, go into the cure menu, then take out the fake death pill and the transmitter, then spin Snake's model in the cure menu about 10 or 11 times to make him throw up. After Snake throws up from exiting the cure menu, Johnny will come and check on you. You're just going to punch kick him until he's knocked out. Then you're going to loot his body twice to get smoke grenades and noodles. These items are going to be critical for escaping the prison in a timely and safe manner.
Oh, jeez. Did you throw up?
Once you get the noodles, make sure you eat them before going into the next area. Otherwise, Snake's stomach growling will actually give away his presence and make the next part way more difficult than it needs to be. This is also where we are going to save. I'd recommend having the smoke grenades ready to go prior to the next room.
Delicious.
If you want to do this room in a safe and also fairly quick way, stand by this corner, crouch, and wait for that guard to turn around. When that guard does turn around, go south and then go left to hug the walls, and then hide behind the second row of barrels. As soon as that guard looks away, you're going to book it to the top left and then crawl underneath the hole in the wall. This room is really simple. All you have to do is get up and just run to the left until you get to the door. A guard may notice your presence, but they won't spot you unless you just stop moving for no reason. This next room can be tricky, but I found a fairly easy method. Run alongside this white line towards the light. When the light moves, go diagonal to the tank where the yellow line is. When you see that guard up there, throw a smoke grenade at him. When that smoke grenade goes off, move up a bit to the next tank, then throw another smoke grenade. If you do this correctly, the guard won't see you, and you can move on to the sewers. The dog will notice your presence, but he won't actually cause an alert, as you can see here. Even though he's right next to us, he won't actually cause an alert and then a game over. So then we can proceed to the sewers and then move on to the next section. Once we finish this call with Eva, we're going to actually roll over the fence to go to the bottom of the sewers. We will take some damage, but it's not a problem because we actually want to die as quick as possible in the Sorrow fight. If you don't have the rocket launcher, the easiest way to die in the Sorrow fight is to just drown yourself. Otherwise, in the context of a gold camo run, the sewers and the waterfall section play identical to how you would in a regular Foxhound run. Just follow the path I'm taking to get out of the sewers before the dogs catch up to you. Once we get our gear back, we can switch into our gold camo, and we're going to keep it for the rest of the run. We're also going to pick up a suppressor and some ammo along the way before we go to our next save, which would be Grozny Grad again. In a normal run, you would pick up the cardboard box at the end of this hallway so you could fast travel into the weapons lab. We're not going to be doing that because, as I mentioned before, this is a no cardboard box run. Instead, we're going to have to go back in the building where Rykov was to enter the weapons lab. Before we move on to the next area, which is also where we will save, we want to make sure we have our Mark 22, smoke grenades, and C3 equipped. As soon as you load the next save, go into first person mode and then shoot the guard. Do not take a single step forward, otherwise he will spot you. Go behind the tank, stand on your tiptoes, and then shoot the guard at the far outpost. Then go back to where you were around the tank, and then shoot the guard at the outpost closer to you. From here, you can tiptoe to the corner so that you can lean out and then shoot these 4 guards. I'd recommend shooting them in this order. Shoot the guard at the far end, then shoot the guard in the middle right, shoot the guard on the left, then the guard on the right. When you shoot the guard on the left, this guard will freak out, wait for him to stabilize, then get the headshot. Afterwards, just book it to the right so you can go into the next area. For this next area, we're going to rely on audio cues to determine when we can move forward. When this soldier says on the double, you're going to book it to the other end of the map. When you do that, wait around this corner, lean, and then shoot the guard that's just ahead. Try not to roll too far ahead. I got really lucky there. Then you're going to wait for the soldier to say on the double again and throw a smoke grenade just past the barrels. You're going to go into that smoke, then shoot the guard to the left and the right of you. As soon as you shoot this guard, go to the right of this truck and then go inside the building. For this next area, we're basically going to do the same thing that we did when we stole Rykov's disguise, but we're just going to tranquilize or knock out the guard that's around the corner. Then we can go to the weapons lab. Interesting enough, if you enter the weapons lab from this door, this cutscene is unskippable. At the very least, it wouldn't let me skip it. I'm not sure why this happens, but I thought it was interesting to note. This is also going to be our next save, because if we miss any of these shots, it's going to cause a caution, and the room will be basically impossible to complete. As soon as you get in, take one step forward, shoot the mechanic on the top right, shoot the guard that's directly ahead of you, go all the way left, shoot the guard that's facing the wall, wait for him to notice you so he can stabilize his head, shoot the mechanic on the walkway to the left of you, stand on your tiptoes, shoot the mechanic down in the middle, and then shoot the mechanic on the right rail. That's a lot to cover, right? Afterwards, you can make your way to the top of the stairs. Then, with the vantage point that you have, you can shoot the mechanic that's going to be working on one of the fuel tanks, and then the guard that's just right beside him. After this, we have 2 more guards that we need to shoot. Make your way to the left of the stairs such that Snake is parallel with that little ledge. Then, make sure the mechanic isn't seeing you, and then shoot the guard just behind the Shago HUD. Then, move slightly and adjust the camera to make sure that the mechanic is working on that computer tower. Shoot him. Then make your way down to all the fuel tanks to put C3 on them. Before we save for the first Vulcan fight, what I'd recommend doing is going into your bag to optimize your loadouts. I would recommend having the following items: your Mark 22, the Patriot, the SVD, and the Mosin. I'd also recommend having TNT and a Claymore ready, because we're going to defeat Vulcan lethally. For the first Vulcan fight, if you defeat him lethally, it does not count as a kill. Start the fight by equipping the Patriot and then immediately unequipping it to make Vulcan do his lightning attack. When you have a moment, shoot his back, then you're going to repeat this cycle over and over again by shooting Vulcan's back when he's vulnerable with the Patriot. If you don't have the Patriot, you can use this with the M37, the AK-47, or even your M19. It doesn't really matter. The Patriot is just the easiest way to do this strategy. If you want a good visual cue, wait for Vulcan to get his stance up and then start shooting just about a second before he becomes vulnerable. When he uncrosses his arms and gets back to a neutral position, that's generally the best cue that I use to start shooting. At the start of Phase 2, unequip your Patriot and then switch to TNT and place it down in front of you. Get back up and let Vulcan come towards you, then detonate the TNT, and you're basically going to loop him by placing TNT while he's uncrossing his arms. Let it rip and repeat. Then do this with Claymores. It's a very easy, very simple, and honestly a really funny strategy because he can't really do anything about it. He's stuck. The only reason he didn't get clipped there is because I messed up the placement, but you can see here, this time I place it right in front of him, and he explodes. Now we're coming up to my least favorite part of the game, which is the bike chase. Before we save, we're just going to optimize our loadout a bit. You're going to want to have your Mark 22 equipped, and you may want stun or smoke grenades, depending on your strategy. You can also use the Mosin instead of the Mark 22. I like to have it equipped because I'm going to need it for the second Vulcan fight. Also, make sure you have the rocket launcher and the SVD ready. Otherwise, let's save. For the bike chase in general, you really just have to know where the enemies are going to spawn and be ready to shoot them as quick as possible. You also want to be confident with your tactical reloads, otherwise you're going to get absolutely wailed on in between shots. Here there are 4 enemies you need to shoot, and I'd recommend shooting them ideally before Eva stops, if you can, but that's not always feasible. This part is also considerably more difficult on controller as opposed to keyboard and mouse, which may be a bit of a no-duh moment. But it is something to consider depending on how you're playing the game. In a regular Foxhound run, I would usually just opt to use the Cold War camo because it makes the bike chase pretty much a complete joke. You don't really have to shoot them at all. You just need to face them and they'll hesitate to attack Snake. There are a few sections you might take a bit of damage, but with the Cold War camo, you should basically never die. Obviously, in a Gold Camo Only run, that is not an option, so it really comes down to memorizing where the enemies spawn and shooting them as quick as possible. And for this section, unfortunately, I don't think my shooting was up to par as much as I'd like to for the bike chase, so I did take a fair bit of unnecessary damage, but as long as you can make it through, that's the most important thing. In the original game, it was a lot easier, at least in my opinion, to use stun or smoke grenades to take care of the enemies during the bike chase. Here, I have not really found a whole lot of success with it, but perhaps somebody else will. I just couldn't really get it to work. As an additional note, when you see an enemy with a rocket launcher, you have to shoot them, otherwise they're going to hit you and do massive damage. Most notably, the guy in the top left of the roof coming up, you need to shoot him. Otherwise, he is always going to hit you, and you'll probably die, if not have basically no health left, and then die right after. This is the guy I'm talking about. You can see him on the top left by the roof. You have to shoot him. You absolutely need to. Otherwise, as I said, you're going to die. And as you can see, I get that lucky shot here, but he's killed me so many times when I tried to do this. Really, you need to shoot him. There is another rocket guy coming out just before you leave the gate on the top right. But actually, as you see here, I miss him. He doesn't hit me. In the original Metal Gear Solid 3, he always hit us. So I don't know if they changed that or if I got lucky or if it's some type of bug, whatever. Luckily, this next part is much easier. You're going to focus on shooting the gunmen instead of the drivers. In this game, there's only a maximum of 4 bikers that can chase you. So if you knock out the driver, more will respawn. But if you only knock out the gunman, no more will respawn. If you end up shooting the driver, it's not a big deal because they do get off your back and the driver can still shoot you. They're just less consistent and I believe do less damage. I could be wrong on that part. But in either case, that's what you're going to do for the entirety of this section. When you see them come in, try to shoot them from afar because I don't have a lot of health here. You may have more than I do. If you do, great. If not, you can't really afford to get shot. At this point, you don't need to worry about the guards. They're not going to shoot you. What you do need to do is get your SVD and your RPG ready. You're going to use the RPG to shoot the Shagohod's front. This will get you some chip damage and stop it from running over you. You also need the SVD when the Shagohod fires missiles at you to make sure they don't kill you. In general, when the Shagohod fires missiles, you should aim outside of the scope until your crosshair is around the missile, then go into scope and fire. Otherwise, Snake turns way too slow when he's in the scope to reliably hit the missile, and it will probably kill you or do significant damage. This part is pretty simple. You just need to shoot 3 of the 4 bombs, and then shoot the last bomb when the Shagohod is over a certain point on the bridge. Eva will say it's here when you can shoot the last bomb. There is one that is hanging on a rail swinging back and forth. Make sure this isn't your last one, otherwise you might find it really difficult. After you destroy the bridge, make sure you have your RPG and SVD equipped. We're going to save and start the Shagohod fight. So this fight changed a bit from the original MGS3. Most notably, the Shagohod almost never shoots missiles in the original. Here, while it's stunned and below half health, it will shoot 2 missiles at you, and you will need to destroy them, otherwise it will kill you. Otherwise, the fight is pretty simple. You shoot one of the treads to make the Shagohod stop moving. Then, ideally, Eva cooperates, gives you a good angle to get behind the Shagohod and inflict damage. She is generally more cooperative in this game compared to the original, but sometimes she doesn't go as fast as I'd like her to, so you may end up not getting a hit that you would normally want. To my knowledge, it is possible to loop the Shadow HUD in Delta. However, I haven't practiced doing so, but you may be able to find tutorials and other guides in various speedruns for Delta. Regardless if you want to speedrun or do this fight more traditionally, if you will, I would recommend you know how to tactically reload and are comfortable doing so, because the RPG's reload animation is painfully slow, and this fight will be a lot more difficult if you don't tactically reload. And this is a fantastic example of Eva not cooperating. As you can see, the Shadow HUD is completely stuck. I've shot both of the treads, and yet she's not driving. I don't know why this happens or what causes it to occur, but it's very annoying. Once you defeat the Shadow HUD, this starts the second Vulcan fight. You need to defeat him non-lethally this time. I'd recommend having your RPG and your Mosin available, ready to go. What you do is stay out of the way while Eva distracts him at first, shoot the tread, and then shoot Vulcan, but you need to shoot him from the side or from behind. If you shoot Vulcan where he is facing, he will block the bullet with his electric barrier, so it can be a little tricky to get a good angle. Thank you, Eva, for running me over. It's very annoying when she does that. This fight can be a little tricky if you're not used to predicting where the Shadow HUD's tires will go, but once you get used to understanding how the tires move, it's easy to shoot them, then switch to shoot Vulcan. The timing is less strict compared to the original game, which does help. Vulcan would only be stunned for maybe 2 seconds. Here, he'll be stunned for a couple. Also, Eva will actually help you out by distracting him more and sometimes occasionally downing one of his tires so you can get a headshot. They also made Eva taunt Vulcan way more compared to the original game, which I think is really funny. It adds flavor to the fight that was otherwise kind of boring. When Vulcan does this attack, you're going to want to run away from the Shadow HUD, likely in a counterclockwise manner, but it does depend on your position. After we defeat Vulcan the second time, we go on to the second part of the bike chase. For this part, you're going to want your Mosin or your Mark 22 to shoot the guards, and I'd recommend a lot of patience because this part can be really, really frustrating, which is why I'm saving. For this first part, focus on the drivers. Don't worry about the gunmen or the flying guards. The sooner you take out the drivers, the more breathing room you have to restore HP and then move on to the next section. For this next section, same thing, shoot the drivers ASAP, and you're going to do this one more time, and then you're going to come up to a barricade later on. Now at this point, you're going to see a few guards far away by the barricade. Eva will have relatively straight driving for a few seconds, so try to pick off a few of the soldiers to avoid taking a lot of damage. Coming up to this last barricade before the 3 flying soldiers, there is a guard on the left with a rocket launcher. You have to shoot him, otherwise you're going to take a ton of damage. As you can see, these guys barely hit you, but he is guaranteed to hit you, and you'll probably die almost instantly in this part. Speaking of which, this part is the hardest part of the bike chase. These 3 flying guards are extremely difficult to hit. They can wail on you for a ton of damage, and they consistently respawn. I don't know if this is the case in Delta as well, but the one to the left of you can also drop on you guys and start a fire, causing you to take burn damage. Primarily, I would focus on the guard in the middle, as he tends to hit you the most, in my experience, and he'll do a ton of damage. The guard to your left, typically not as much, so I'd focus on the middle and the guard on the right, if you can. When Eva alerts you that there's a log coming up, you can either take it down with your SVD or RPG. I like using the SVD because I'm not afraid of splash damage with the rifle. For the last part of the bike chase coming up, if you have about a quarter health or more, you should be okay. Your main target is the gunman on the bikes. As before, only 4 bikers can chase you at a time, and the drivers by themselves don't do a lot of damage. If you do find yourself low on health and you're getting picked off, you can just shoot the drivers and at least have a few seconds of breathing room. It's up to you. After you've healed everybody's injuries, you can go back here to pick up some supplies like smoke grenades, ammo, etc. Before you move on, you should feed Eva, ideally some instant noodles. You should only have to feed her once, maybe twice if you get really stuck. Before proceeding, you also want to have your Mark 22 with a suppressor, your Mosin, and some smoke grenades. Otherwise, proceed into the next area. You don't actually have to call Eva over, and then you can save. For this first room, if you follow my instructions, you won't have to deal with any guards. Take a few steps and call Eva over. If you want to keep calling her again, press the action button and do a tactical reload to cancel the animation. Anyway, have your smoke grenades ready right around here and aim in between the trees with a hard toss. You're going to see that little white radius that indicates where the grenade is going to land. Eva is still following you. When Eva gets past this radius, throw the grenade, then go down left, and you should be able to go past a stump and eventually call her over again. You can see the stump right there. We just passed it. Then call her in between these two trees. If everything goes correctly, by this tree, you can look in first person, and Eva should still be making her way down towards you. If she's not, she's going to say something like, "Snake, where'd you go?" Then you messed up, and you're probably going to have to restart this room. You can see she's actually coming down, so just wave her over and then go to the ledge and wait for her to boost you up. Now for this part, look immediately to your left in first-person view with your Mark 22. Headshot that guard, then run up to this tree and do a lean technique to shoot this guard to the right of it. It can be pretty tricky, so line up your shot. Then take out the guard to the right of this tree. You can shoot him, you can CQC him, whatever is easiest for you. There are 2 more guards you need to take care of, and they're going to go around the bend if you haven't already gotten them by then. What you can do is go by a tree and use it as a hiding spot to obscure your model. Right over here, they don't really seem to see you, which is great. So once you take out the one on the left, you can move a bit and then take out the other one on the right. If you're a bit earlier, you might be able to get them by the tree in front of Snake, but it's not something to worry about too much. As you can see, that guard, we body shot him quite a few times. He didn't see us. Once you take out the 5 guards in this area, call Eva over and then make your way up the north path. Once Eva is on her way, you can punch kick this tree shrub. The noise will cause the guard below us to make his way all the way around to see what the disturbance was. During this time, we can headshot the guard directly north of us. There's another guard behind this tree. Wait for him to go back to his original position. Then you can headshot him and make your way to the ledge. Make sure that Eva is walking with you, as her AI can be pretty finicky and sometimes not move, despite you being very close to her. Coming up is the last fight with the boss. The boss is not too difficult in Delta, and on a gold-only camo run, the only main difference is you have a bit less margin of error, as opposed to using the sneaking suit, for example. Before you start the fight, you're going to want to have your Mosin equipped and no weapons on your previous. From what I understand, the slowdown effect when the boss goes to tackle you and you want to counter her will not happen if you have a weapon equipped. So during those CQC sequences, make sure you have no weapons equipped. When the fight with the boss starts, we're going to counter her attack, then save, as in my experience, the codec would not come up until I countered her attack, or if she successfully got the damage on me.
Then, early in the 20th...
See what you're made of. What's this for? You're out of your... Excellent. See what you're made
When the boss charges at you, wait for the slowdown effect, then press the CQC button to counter her attack. You can either punch her, roll over her, or do damage with the Mosin. and then run away as she's invulnerable and gets up. If you are close to the boss, when she gets up, she may try to rush you down instead of shooting you with the Patriot. It's just something to be wary of in case you don't find a good hiding spot. Generally, for this fight, because I have access to CQC in the gold camo, I just rush her down and then shoot her with the Mosin after countering her each time. If you're not confident in doing this, or you're playing with a camo such as the Tuxedo, which does not have CQC available, there is a strategy that you can use to hide behind that log and basically loop her as she goes back and forth between two trees with the Mosin. If you want to check out that strategy demonstrated, you can see my Tuxedo Only run in my channel.
Your skills have improved.
Congratulations. At this point, the run is finished. The only thing left to do is to take the final shot to kill the boss, and then have the Russian roulette duel with Ocelot at the end.
It's our only hope.
A patriot? Why are you giving me this?
Jack. Or should I say, Snake. You're a wonderful man. Kill me. Kill me now. Do it. There's only room for one boss and one snake.
For the Russian roulette duel, pick the gun on the left and then fire all 6 bullets as fast as possible to end the cutscene. Afterwards, skip through the credits, the final call, and then we can go to the results screen where I can show you that I got Foxhound rank. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and my other challenge videos. This was a bit of a doozy to make, but I really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys learned some interesting strategies here too, and you may even attempt your own gold camo runs. Have a great day.